Fine, Poof. Waking up after a peaceful night, I looked at my husband, who was lying just beside me, one arm on my waist and other under my head, as if he is holding a baby. But that's how he is. He always thinks I'm a baby, doing all the childish things. I too don't mind him calling me a baby. I silently and slightly put his arm beside me and got up to go to the washroom and make breakfast for him. It was another usual day of him giving me a morning kiss, us doing breakfast together, and then he went to his work. Today was my off day because it was my boss' first anniversary, so he gave a holiday to all his staff. It looked like a normal day, but something was actually off. No matter how much I try to ignore it, but it always feels like someone is watching me, trying to get a closer look of me, but when I see, there's no one. I decided to read a book to help clear my mind a bit, but then I felt a flashlight coming through the window. I did not see it, but it was definitely there. I was sure of it this time. That's it. There really is someone. I'm going to see, I said to myself. I went outside in the lawn of our house to which the window of our room opens, but there is no one. I check all the sides with a shiver in my whole body because of the thoughts in my head. What if there actually is someone? What if he tries to harm me or even kill me? What if those thoughts were enough to keep my legs shivering? I checked everywhere, but there was no one. Even after that, my heart was not at peace, and finally, after giving it a lot of thoughts, I decided to call my husband. I dialed his number. He picked up saying, "What is it, baby? Missing me already?" "Jungkook, I think someone is in the house watching me, and I'm really scared. Please leave everything and come back," I said with a shiver in my voice. Thinking it was another prank of mine, he said, "Ryan, don't do that again. Just tell me and I will come back, but please don't scare me like that." I could hear his breath becoming faster from the fear of me being taken away. I said, "I'm not joking. Please come back." And before I could say it, someone held me from my waist and put a handkerchief full of chloroform on my nose. The phone fell down from my hand, and I tried my best to get rid of his grip, even when I didn't know what I was doing and what was happening. I was still in my senses and could hear my husband calling my name again and again and then cutting off his phone. I kept trying to get rid of his grip until I lost my senses and I fell down with my eyes closed. Fine's both ended. After an hour, she woke up, only to see she was half naked, with only a blouse and an underwear on her body. There were no signs of anyone around. She got up to put some clothes on, but before she could do that, she heard the door of the room opening. She looked at it, and shivers ran down her spine when she saw a tall man with blonde hairs, black eyes, and a big body. His big body was enough to make her scared. She looked at him as he said to her, "Oh, you're finally up, cutie." She tried to realize the situation and come to her senses. She looked around and it wasn't her house. It was a big room but really old. She remembered her husband, which gave her a lot of courage, until that man came near her. He came closer to her and said, "We have a lot to do right now, and you're already scared? Fine. Who are you? Who are you to tell me that? What did you do to me? Where are my clothes?" Stoker. "Gosh, you ask so many questions. But don't worry, I'll make sure you forget all the questions once we do it." "Fine. Do what? I'm not doing anything with you. Let me go." She tried to run from there, but her stalker held her wrist with full force and threw her on the bed. She screamed, "Help me! Let me go! Someone help me!" She kept screaming until he came upon her and tried to remove her bra. He removed one strap, and as he tries to go for the other one, he hears the door of the room banging against the wall. He looked there and saw Jungkook, who broke the door with his leg. His breathing was really fastened up and eyes were red. It could be seen through his eyes how much he cared for his wife. Jungkook saw him, who was still upon Vine, putting his one hand on her bra. Seeing Vine naked and scared like that, he had a tear in his eye. And then he looked at him. His veins popped up and face became red. Jungkook came inside and the stalker also got up from her. Jungkook punched him without any questions and answers. The stalker had no chance against Jungkook. Jungkook kept beating him. He did not stop even when he was bleeding from his face, even when two of his teeth broke down. He had full intention to kill that stalker guy. But then Vine was also beside him, who could not see it anymore. Vine, Jungkook, Jungkook, stop it already. He will die at this rate. Jungkook, that's what I'm trying to do. Vine, Jungkook, please stop. I cannot see it anymore. He was out of his senses and his anger could not be satisfied. Vine finally held his hand and said, please stop. Even if you love me, then stop it. After hearing those words and feeling the warmth of her hand, he finally stopped and looked at her, who was at her worst. Still shivering and face red, he looked at her and felt her. He put his hand on her face and then hugged her, while that stalker was still in shock that how did Jungkook find this place. But he is John Jungkook, and if it's about Vine, he can even go outside the world to find her. While they were still hugging each other, and Vine opened up. Thank God you came on time. I was scared to death. Thank you. Still crying. Jungkook, babe, why were you scared when you had me? I won't let anything happen to you, so now stop crying. Let's first get out of here. He held her hand and took her slowly to the outside of the room and made her put some clothes on. While she was wearing clothes, he said, well, you don't need them that much. Vine finally smiled and pinched his arm. At least let me go home. Jungkook, whoa, at least you smiled. Vine also didn't realize that she smiled. Jungkook, okay, let's go now. Jungkook picked her up when it was time to go downstairs. They smiled looking at each other. Vine embraced herself into Jungkook, feeling completely safe and comfortable around him. He put her in the car and saying that he has an important thing to do, he stayed outside the car and told one of his men to blow up the house when they both go far away from here. And then he sat inside the car beside her, and the driver drove the car. Jungkook hugged her and asked her if she wanted to go to the doctor or if she is hurt. Fine, I'm not hurt, just take me home. I wanna be with you alone for some time, Jungkook. And by alone, you mean... Fine, Jungkook. She said it in an angry tone. Jungkook, what? You said it yourself before, that I should let you go home at least. Fine, you haven't forgotten that? She said it in a surprised way. Jungkook, why would I? Fine whined, and he smiled. They both went home embracing each other, and the first thing they did was not it. Jungkook asked Vine to be open around him and tell him about the incident. That would help her heal and make her less scared. He took care of her the whole day while she was in bed. He made food for her and even fed her. She also teased him a lot. Their giggles could be heard outside the room. Then they shut off the lights, and Jungkook asked Vine, are you alright now? He said it in a deep voice and looked at her with desperate eyes. Vine, why are you looking at me with those eyes? Jungkook, coming upon her, said, what eyes? Vine, okay, I get it. I'm alright now. Jungkook, I guess I have the permission. He giggled.